Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Hot Mix with the Asphalt Nation. Tim Smith, and we have Chip
Chip
Stewart.
Stewart.
There you are. All right. So
Yeah,
today we're going to talk about getting started in this wonderful industry. Chip, let's talk about starting the seal coating business and what you can do to get involved. All right. You there, Chip?
I am now. There was
Okay.
a technical issue. I was something happened where I was muted. Sorry about that.
That's all right. So we're going to talk about getting started with the seal coating industry, how to get started, and so forth. So,
Right, and
you
that's
want-
that's a super topic. This is really good for some of the newer guys out there. So glad everybody's with us today.
yeah. So, I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, I don't have the money to get started." The one thing is, you don't need to go out and buy, a brand new seal rig or even a used one. I mean, you can get started with just a bucket, brush, or a squeegee, just to get started to make some money. The
Yeah,
And I'll also say one thing, and that is, the only way not to get started is not to start.
that's right. The best way to get started is to get going, figure it out a little bit along the way. But to help groups like us, we can help you along the way also.
Correct.
Um, but yeah, it's and there's no lack of need for our services. There is literally concrete everywhere, potholes everywhere, um, and there's definitely needs all over the place for it. We traveled 8 hours last night to have a meeting for. It's going to end up being 9 major properties throughout North Georgia, and for for anybody just getting started, this should be very encouraging because we literally were the guys that started with a brush bucket and moved up to a tote, and before too many jobs were complete, had a full sweep agitation tank. So I'd say it is actually pretty easy to get started on a budget in. And if you're diligent, save your money, you can move right along and step right up into the right equipment. Obviously, if you have the money to jump out and get started with the finest of the finest, it sure makes the job easier. It sure makes the job more productive, but you can get started and make some money, feed the family, grow along the way, and end up with a pretty good business for a low initial investment.
Hmm, exactly. And one thing that's important is making sure you have all your license, your insurances. I mean, liability insurance is a must in this.
Right.
And I've had coaching clients that I've worked with that have done jobs and didn't have insurance. And I spoke to them
Mm-hmm.
about it and they didn't get it. Well, they got a job, they did the job, went to go get paid, and the client's like, I need a copy of your certificate of
Yeah.
insurance.
Where's your insurance?
So guess what?
Yeah.
They didn't get paid until they got that insurance. And it's
Yeah.
not that
Yeah.
expensive. I mean,
It's not that expensive. And the beauty of your initial liability insurance is that it it goes on an estimated yearly, annually income, and then obviously your first year, unless you've just really been able to jump into some really big stuff, your initial insurance is really inexpensive, and it goes by your actual dollars generated. So there's a good balance there the way that the premium is billed.
yeah. And and you got to watch. There's some insurance companies out there that they'll offer you coverage, but the coverage isn't that great. I mean, they'll say it's a $2
Right.
million
Yeah.
liability insurance, and then you find out it's only 1 million, but it caps at 2, and it doesn't cover
Right.
this, this, and that. So you really got to do your homework on that.
Well, yeah, a good example of that is we looked online when we opened a subsector, and obviously we were trying to cut corners as we got started, and my administrator found some insurance offerings online on Facebook and whatnot. They seemed really good, but then when you got jumped in there and you read the fine print, they would even though it was a big liability policy, they capped everything out at very, very small minimums. Like you'd have property in personal liability protection, but it would cap out at $25,000, and then they would end up, they go to litigation right after that. It's not like it's a policy that's going to protect you the whole way through. It's a policy that you're going to have to fight against. So good to have a good local insurance agent that you can sit down and really speak nuts and bolts with.
Yeah. And then same way with an accountant, get yourself a good accountant. Unless you're good with numbers, but again, there's so many different tax things that you can utilize that you may not know where
Mhm.
that professional is going to save you money.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some essentials that you really need to get started. Besides, I mean, just a bucket and a squeegee. I mean, that's really in a pickup truck is ideal.
Yeah. Uh, Great to have some cleaning equipment, maybe a wire broom,
Mhm.
uh, a blower. In the beginning, I see a lot of guys start with the backpack blower, but I think personally, I like a wheel blower or a rolling blower to
Mhm.
start with because you can place it and let it sit in a spot and you can scrub around in that spot where the air's blowing over your surface. And with the backpack, you have to move it around a lot, scrub some, because a lot of times, honestly, guys, when you get started, you're going to be by yourself, and your guy's going to not show up. So to me, one of your biggest, best initial first investments is to find a nice roll blower.
Mhm.
You can find them online, a few $100s for a good one,
Mhm.
and or again, if you have the money, a couple $1,000s for a better one.
Yeah.
And then uh, if you just can't stand it, you have to have the best of the best for about $25,000. You can get a rolling blower that you actually stand on and ride around. That's got a brush on the front of it, so you don't even have to get off of it. So there's some options out there from starting with the broom and a little blower all the way up to the whole big deal.
Yeah. I've seen them you can get a new one at Home Depot. I mean, it's a commercial one. It blows about 180 miles an hour, which is a little bit slower,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, you can pick it up for like 400 or 500 bucks. So
Yeah,
when we first started, I bought a little Wonder. I think I paid 300 bucks for it. The motor lasted a few months and it went. So I put another motor on it with electric start. And I think I had a total
right.
of like 700 bucks in that thing. And I used that. I mean, that thing still runs.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Clark
Same here. Same
Clark
exact
Kramer has
scenario.
that one now.
What's that?
Clark Kramer, I always mess his name up. He lives out near Pittsburgh, Johnstown. He bought that for me a couple months ago. But
Yeah,
the
yeah. So some work gloves, hearing protection, eye protection. Um, I do this in long pants and work boots.
Mhm,
I've just seen what happens to people when a little accident occurs, and I
mhm.
think it's better to be protected. I mean, you can do your shorts, but I think it's important when you're out there to be, extra diligent about your own safety and well-being on the job site. During the summertime, stay hydrated, have a cooler, have some Gatorade, have some water, make sure you eat.
Yeah. One thing I used to do when I was out in the field, actually in the field working, I would buy scrub pants. I'd go to
Mhm.
there's an outlet where I can get these scrub pants. They're like $6. And I'd get like 10
Yeah,
of them and then I'd wear them and then just put them on when I'm doing actual work. That way
yeah,
just take
lightweight.
them off then and then at the end of the week I'd just toss them. I mean it's $5 and
Yeah,
because they'd be covered in sealer and everything. The I think getting if you can find a used, if you can't afford the new, if you can get a used 30-gallon or 10-gallon push pot and
hmm
that's for crack sealing because I mean with crack sealing you can make 75 cents to $1 a foot.
right.
And
That's not the charge. That's the profit on.
yeah,
You need to be billing, so you're making that. But yeah,
correct.
you you can get rolling with a new or a used crack machine for I think I've seen I've seen them as low as $200 and $300 on Facebook,
Hmm.
and that is one productive piece of equipment with a very essential service provided. That is one of the very most productive services that you can provide, because when you're filling the cracks, you're slowing down the water, the freeze thaw effect, and stopping potholes before they start.
So do you have any tips for anybody just starting out? Any little, and let's keep it basic, like guys just starting out, or maybe even a year part-time in it and looking to go full-time or even just part-time still.
I'd say in the beginning, as usual, we talked about this a lot. Don't undervalue your services. You know, as we look back, there's so many places I could have made money, and I just didn't value my service at the time, so I didn't know better. I mean, it felt like we were doing really well, but we could have done better. So don't undervalue your service. You see a pothole down at the fire station, don't be afraid to stop in, knock on the door, talk to them. One of your biggest things is your networking.
Mhm.
If you're good with media, obviously get your Facebook, get your Google, get all your accounts set up. You know, really look into your digital marketing.
Mhm.
Definitely have a handful of business cards. I know lately people have had the QR codes put on their trucks and on their business cards. So I think one of the biggest things is to get out there and get your name out and put around.
Mhm.
And you know, don't. One of the things that one thing I see a lot of guys doing is they get real excited about the business and they jump off into a couple 100,000 square foot shopping center job that, you know, and a lot of times you find out as you're talking to the guys that they don't even have a very, you know, a large pickup truck. So they kind of put themselves in a deficit to start with.
Mhm.
So as you're starting out, and I'm talking about the smaller guys who are just starting, you know, part-time out of the back of their truck, be aware of the size of a project that you can actually handle on your own. And then when you get to, you know, not saying to turn the work down, because you can always reach out to other people in the industry and subcontract and get the project done. But I see a lot of guys jump out there and then wish they'd started small, doing a whole bunch of small home driveways, get to know the material. Once you get your hands in it and start using it, looking at the effects of your product on the pavement and how it looks after, you know, 4, 5, 6 months, a year, and then you really begin to see what the benefit is firsthand. So I think it's maybe important not to jump out on those great big jobs to start with.
Mhm.
You know, striping is a great avenue for that. It doesn't take a lot to get started with striping.
Yeah.
But I don't know what else can you think of, Tim?
So with the marketing part, now you just get yourself out on Facebook. And another thing, social outreach, going out and being involved in the community. We do things like we give gift certificates out, gift cards for services to our local community, fire department. Also, they do a tree lighting ceremony. So every year we give 2 gift certificates for free service, and then they hand them out as prizes. Um,
Mhm.
One thing we do with churches is we give them a 10% discount, and then we take, and if one of their members of their church gets work done by us in the same calendar year, we'll take 10% of that project and donate back to the church. So if it's $1,000 driveway, we'll donate $100 back to the church. It's almost getting like somebody out there to get your referral. I mean, some of these churches,
Right,
you know, have a few hundred members, and
right.
definitely get your name out there in the community. Um, and just networking with people, getting involved with other people in the industry, learning from them, whether it be a paid coach or just a group of guys that get together like we do every Thursday, and just helping each other and helping each other grow.
Right. Yeah. And you'd be surprised, you know, as I came up in this industry and other businesses that we've been involved in, the competitors were always looked at as the enemy. And I found recently that that's not the case at all. Your competitors can actually, we should change that word to colleagues
Mhm.
and be able to When you can start networking with your colleagues and they have something that maybe they don't want to do, but they'll pass it on down to you. You know, getting started with a larger paving company, even in the beginning, they have a lot of home driveways that come in that they either can't service, don't want to service, or it's not what they do. And they'll send you those leads if you've set up, built a relationship, built some trust, have the right insurance, have the right licensure. And before you know it, their phone book ad, I just showed my age. Um, their social and their networking will become your social and your networking, because they'll pass those jobs that they've grown out of on to you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's no secret that I subcontract 90% of my work out. We primarily just do striping now, but all my
Mm-hmm.
seal coating is done by a guy that lives 10 minutes from me. And he was
Right? Yeah.
my biggest competitor, and we became really good friends. And we're going to get him on here one of these weeks and interview him. He's been in the industry for a long time, and he's just been very successful with it.
Yeah.
Um, I think the important thing is make sure you give 110%, especially when you're doing residential driveways, and you
Yeah.
you go that extra step, because then you can charge more. I mean, we're the most
Yeah.
expensive in our area and always will be, but we get sealer where the sealer's supposed to be, not on houses, not on cars, sidewalks.
Right.
And I think that's important. And you can charge more because you don't make those mistakes, because you do take your time a
Yeah.
little bit more.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Uh,
It's quality and integrity, and
yeah.
doing what you say you're going to do. Show up when you say you're going to show up. And if you're not going to show up, because those things do happen, you will find that if you call someone, not a text, but call them and talk to them and say, hey, I had a problem and I'm going to either have to reschedule or I'm going to be late. Is that going to be okay with you? But communication is key. We went through a time early on where we got so busy, I quit communicating. And then I saw the effect of that was a ripple in our work. So we'd run this sine wave all the time where we were busy, had a lot of stuff to do, and got to the end of that, and then we fell right on because I quit communicating, I quit seeing people. So consistency, and be a person of your word and be very, very diligent about your integrity, because when it
Oh,
all
yeah.
comes down to it, that's the bottom line.
And that brings up another good point. Like with me being in the Northeast, we're seasonal. So, I mean, we work maybe 5, 6 months out of the year with rain and cold weather and everything else that's involved. You got to pack away that money. And so make sure
Mm-hmm.
that if you're doing this full time, that you have enough money set aside to get you through spring, and not just enough to get through spring, but to get through spring and be able to start up again and
Yeah,
have
have
money
your
to buy
seat money.
supplies. What's
That's
that?
right. I said have your seat money. That's great,
Exactly.
great
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, is there anything else you want to add?
Well, the main thing I think is, you know, be a person of your word, develop your close contacts and your relationships with the people that you see a need and that see a value in you, and you see a need that you can service for them, and keep those people close. We're sitting on a job here where we've been working with these people for 20 years. I worked with them even prior to me. My mentor and man that taught me so much in this business actually started with these people right here,
Mhm.
and it's been an ongoing tradition that they work with us and we work with them, and cultivate those relationships and be genuine, be good to people. That that helps me. That's what I think put us a lot further along than where we could be.
Yeah, and just build that relationship with these customers, and a strong partnership. Just don't go in and get one driveway done, because that one driveway could lead to the next door neighbor's driveway. And if you got a good
Right,
relationship with that first one, you could have a good relationship with the second one. That second one could own a 200,000 square foot property somewhere. You just never
right, and
know.
exactly, because it's word of mouth, it's networking, it's all your different digital marketing schemes, it's your business cards, it's your trucks. Even if you have an old truck, keep it washed. Put some armor on the tires and wash off the hubcaps. And if they get so covered in sealer they're all black, just go buy some new hubcaps. I mean, take a little pride and just remember, this is a people business.
Mhm.
You end up meeting a lot of great people, and that's how you meet the next one. So it's a lot of polishing your people skills.
Yeah. The before we go, I mean, it's basically just get started. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what it
get
is.
going.
Get started, and then if you need help, reach out to us. You can DM us, call us. We'll definitely help you get started. Check out Business Growth Pros. It's our private Facebook group, and
Yep.
love to have some more people get in there. We meet every Thursday at 8 Eastern
Yeah.
evening. So yeah,
So that's tomorrow night again.
tomorrow night. Yes.
That's right. It rolls around fast.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Chip, you be safe out there today. And
You be
check out
safe too, Tim.
our sponsor for today is wassupply.com. So check them out, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday. Have a blessed day. See you,
Have a
Chip.
blessed day.
Talk to you later,
Bye,
Chip.
Tim.
See you. Bye.
Goodbye.